What's up, everybody? Back to another podcast, it seems. The No Brain Podcast, the best podcast in the universe, on top of the world. Guys, today's topic is going to be about the time I got fucking yeeted by a girl at the gym. If most of you do not know, I go to a UFC gym because I enjoy both combat sports and lifting weights. I was hitting the bag quite a bit at an LA Fitness before I transferred to the UFC gym. I've always really enjoyed physical sports, and when I first started watching the UFC, it really resonated with me. And it was so interesting watching these guys put their lives on the line for this kind of a competition. Was so awesome, and it was mind-boggling, but it was so awesome to see. And watching it more and more made me more and more interested. It was drawing me in, and I finally decided to make the switch to the UFC gym. Now, I'd say when I was at LA Fitness, I wasn't very trained. I would just hit the bag for fun, kick the bag for fun. But once I got to the UFC gym, I tried taking it a little bit more serious, and I tried to actually develop my skills. And through me developing my skills, I wanted to spar. So at the UFC gym, they have an open sparring, I guess you can call it an open sparring group, and it's mainly beginners. It's not experts. So I already knew going into it, I wasn't going to get my ass kicked. There wasn't going to be people who were very advanced in MMA. I guess I should say it was kickboxing. It wasn't MMA because we weren't wrestling. It wasn't Muay Thai. We weren't using elbows. It was strictly just kicking and punching. So it was essentially just kickboxing. And when I got in the class, I noticed there was a female there, which was odd because at most of the classes I didn't see any girls there. And she was a little bit overweight, which would really surprised me because I didn't think that. When I think of fighting, I think of peak fighting, I think of someone who's in fantastic physical shape. And when I looked at this girl, it was just way off. It just did not look right. And it was really confusing to me. But I was happy that she was obviously working harder for herself, and she wanted to develop her skills. And I'm assuming she also wanted to get in better shape, which I respected. So the sparring session started. It was it was probably about 6 people or so. So you would go with someone, and you'd go with a different person every round, and it was in this smaller looking octagon. And I was going with a few of the guys, and I felt really good. I don't know if this was my first time sparring. I think it was one of my first. It was definitely one of my second or third, maybe fourth time sparring. So I wasn't a noob, but I wasn't great, or I didn't understand it too well. But I felt really good. I felt like I was doing really well against the other guys, and I was putting up a good fight. I was just learning it again, and we weren't going hard. It was just mainly learning sparring. It was touch. There was no problems. It was really fun. I was enjoying it a lot. And then they matched me up with the girl. And let me put it into a little bit better perspective. Let me explain it a little bit more. So again, this girl was pretty overweight, and she was also shorter. She was probably 5'3", 5'4", 150, 160, really hefty, just really wide, and not built. It was really odd. I don't want to be mean to her, but I just want to paint the picture for you guys. So, and to paint the picture a little bit better, I'm about 5'11", 6 foot, 160 or so. And so we were pretty evenly matched in terms of weight. But again, I just had a lot more size on her because I was just a lot more muscular. And the round starts, and it was insane. She just starts teeing off on me. I was so shocked. It actually took me a couple minutes to really realize what was happening. It was so odd because she just starts trying so hard right out the bat, right out the gate. She's going hard in the paint, And I was just so shocked that she was doing that. And again, with the sparring, it's touch sparring. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna take your head off. Let's fight. I'm just gonna fuck you up really bad. And so when she started doing that, I was taken back. But again, I was in the moment. And I had to protect myself, and I was blocking, moving, maneuvering, and she was going so hard. She was trying to hit me to the body, trying to hit me to the head, throwing hard as she possibly could, or so it seemed. And you could usually tell when someone's throwing hard, or at least trying to throw with some dangerous intent. And throughout this whole process, it was odd for me to even fight a girl. It wasn't really fighting. I wouldn't even call it fighting. Sparring is not necessarily fighting, but it was odd for me to even spar a female. Because again, when you're growing up, you're always taught don't ever hit a female unless some horrible things. If you're getting robbed by a girl or something, I guess that's a good time to hit her. I don't know. But for the most part, again, you don't want to hit women, right? We all know that. And so when I was going against her, it was just so odd for me. My brain, I couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't put together like, okay, I'm going to punch this girl in the face. Now, I was throwing punches, but they were super soft, kind of like I was doing with the other guys. It was just extra weird with her being a girl and her being so much smaller looking to me. And she was going so hard that it was even more surprising. It was just so confusing. It was such a confusing scenario. And again, now that I'm looking back at it and I'm trying to kind of see myself from a third person point of view, it was so odd. It was so disturbingly odd. She was throwing some good punches, though. I'd give her that. She was obviously decently skilled. I just felt really, really disrespected, and it seemed really odd that she would go so hard and try and hurt me with such intent when I was going maybe 20% to her going 80%. But the good news is, again, we know biologically males are superior to females in terms of physicality. And so I was able to easily protect myself. There was no problems. The round lasted, I think it was a 3 or 4 minute round. So it was, the good thing was it was a learning experience, because that was the first time anyone ever tried to actually hurt me with some intent. And it was odd that it was first a female. So anyways, after that, she was talking to me a little bit, and she was telling me, she was like, yeah, coach was telling me that, I was getting the best of you, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, she was just talking about how one of the coaches was apparently watching and thought she was doing a really, really good job. I'm just still so confused at this point when she's talking to me. I'm actually shocked that she's talking to me and saying this, because I asked her, I straight up asked her, I said, this is sparring, right? I was like, this is my third time sparring, and I was maybe going 20%. I just don't know what she was trying to prove. I feel like maybe she had some self-esteem issues and she was trying to prove something. It was just genuinely shocking. But all the other spar sessions were super great. I sparred this other girl one time who was she was some kind of kickboxing or taekwondo black belt. And this girl actually knew how to spar. And she was a lot more skilled, and she threw these kicks so much better than this other girl did. And this spar session was actually a normal spar session. We were both going at the same pace. It wasn't like she was trying to kill me. It was all technique based. But this girl really, really impressed me. She was really, really swift with her kicks. You could tell, again, that she had great technique. You could tell that she's been doing it for a bit, again, with her taekwondo background. And I talked to her a little bit after the sparring session, and she was just talking a little bit about her background and kind of how long she's been doing it and why she likes to do it. And, I completely get it. That's one of the reasons why I really like sparring and just MMA in general, or kickboxing in general, is because you get a good understanding of combat sports, and you never realize what a fight's going to be like, but it's the closest you can get to a fight. And I don't think there will ever be a time where I will ever be in any kind of confrontation, let alone physical confrontation, with a female. So that's probably the one or two only times I'll ever be in that situation. It's weird that I was sparring all these females right off the bat. I've sparred almost as many females as I have males, just because I haven't sparred really that often, because I'm just afraid of CTE and any kind of problems that might arise. Even from light sparring, I'm just super careful on what I do. It was odd though. I got beat up by a girl for that time, and I'll allow it. I'll gladly say that. If I was going 100%, it'd be a different story though. I'm just going to have to put that out there. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.